Every project manager knows the happiness, the joy, and sometimes the pain when launching a new project. But how about recognizing the things when things go left or south? It's being able to identify those crucial spots that will really help you grow as a project manager. So I have seven warning signs that you're trashing your project. Again, 7 warning signs that you're trashing your. Why did I say that? Trashing your project. Hey, my name is ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, listen, that just simply means Ed. As you guys don't know, I have a 7 point framework. In that 7 point, we just go over each point, and hopefully, I deliver enough value to you that you stay tuned in with me. So let's go. First point. This is huge. When I really started learning more and more about risk, I had to make a decision. Uh, we need to talk about risk at the beginning of the meeting and not the end. Because what will happen a lot of times, you can get so caught up in moving the project forward that you forget your blind spots. Ooh, I like that. Because with the blind spots that you have before, they had where it could, basically when someone is in your blind spot in your mirrors, you will see that, hey, there's a notification somebody's sitting in your blind spot. But but before that, when they didn't have that technology, you would literally, look over your shoulder, which wasn't safe. It wasn't driver friendly. And when someone is sitting in your blind spot, you ask yourself, well, why are they sitting in my blind spot? And I say that because about where I'm discussing here regarding risk. See, ignoring risk, you're really, I should say, really ignoring or downplaying risk, you're really navigating yourself in really bad water. Why am I saying that? Because the risk that you don't think is going to happen is going to happen. You could probably ask any project manager out there, they'll tell you, they'll say, I didn't plan for that risk to happen, but I planned for that risk to happen and I have a plan in place. Because if we don't address the risk, of course, they turn over into an issue. So, point number one, family, make sure when you're leading your project to not ignore the risk. Let's move on to point number two. Point number two is really just, I mean, it's self explanatory that it explains itself so well that you even ask yourself, I can't believe this. But inadequate monitor and reporting. Mm. I don't know how many times, that I've seen status reports that the data was made up, but the audience sometimes don't know the data is made up. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that when you look at the data, if you were to do a deep dive into the project, you would see they're covering up some things. They're not really truly reporting on the true aspect of the project because of a fear that maybe has been resonated in the organization or with themselves, that they would feel like if I got to flip my project from green to yellow or red, that now I'm going to have to explain, and if the explanation is not good, so you start telling yourself these stories, and when you start telling yourself these stories, then you don't provide you provide inadequate monitoring and reporting. So, family, when you are leading a project, you want to ensure that you implement a great system for monitoring the progress and status of your project regularly. Let's move on to point number three. Point number three is, out of the 7 points, really a lack of clear objective. I always heard if you don't have a destination, anywhere would go. So with a good, clear objective, it really will help you provide well-defined goals, as well as what I talked about earlier just a moment ago of saying you will be able to find your destination. You will be able to sell without a cost. And this ensures also that everybody is on the same page. So we don't have to make up something along the way. We already know that, hey, this is the objective, it's a clear objective, and this is what we're supposed to, the outcome we're supposed to get out of this particular project. Point number four, resource overload. Family, this when I always talk about resource constraints. I said if I rewrote the iron triangle, which is scope, cost, schedule, and quality, I would put resources on there as well, especially in these days and times, or I should say in this economy now, because what will happen is that the teams will stretch themselves thin trying to meet every competing particular priority. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, they end up getting burnt out. I've seen it throughout my career time and time again. One minute you'll look up and you say, well, where's Johnny at? And they say, well, he left the organization. What happened? He was an excellent stakeholder. He just got tired. He was burnt out. And so, family, we as project managers, we have to do proper resource management. We have to ensure that we're not burning out our resources because and we have to be more efficient with their time. I mean, don't schedule meeting after meeting and you don't have an outcome. I love when I was watching a video with Alex Hormozian. He said when he walked into the meeting, virtual meeting, he was saying, "What problem are we trying to solve?" And I was like, "Ooh, I like that." And I said, "That's how we have to start leading more meetings, is asking that pivotal question. What problem are we trying to solve? Or are you just on here so you can just hide out from other people?" I'm telling you, family, I've seen it time and time again. People will jump on a call just to hide out from any other call that they may have to jump to. So family, when you're actually building out your resource plan, ensure that you don't overload your resource through meetings, through just constant always contacting them. Try to do your very best to ensure that you get a particular outcome when you talk with them. Point number 5, communication breakdown. You know, I love the communication aspect of things because I feel like it's a lost art. A lot of times, when you get communication, it'll be sporadic, it'll be unclear, it'll be misaligned, misunderstood. So I always recommend, family, is that when you are leading a project, make sure it's clear. I really prefer typing in bullet points when I'm giving an update versus, paragraph format because it's more digestible. And you want to be able to have it digestible where someone can look it up and be like, okay, boom, 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 go through each point, understand where we're at in the project, and then be able to move on if there's any particular action item or particular request that we need from that particular stakeholder. Point number 7, unclear roles and responsibility. Listen, if you have a lack of clarity of what you're supposed to be doing in the organization, I promise you there will be a lot of finger pointing, a lot of confusion. And let me park here parenthetically. I want to say this about the finger pointing thing. Sometimes I get frustrated with that whole finger pointing thing because I feel like that means that the team doesn't trust each other. We haven't built enough trust within the team to say, hey, we made the mistake. Okay, maybe I did. Maybe I missed you. What I'm saying is we made the mistake instead of always constantly beating up on the individual and not really helping that individual grow. Now, there's a difference between when somebody is definitely trying to make your project very challenging, or as the title talked about, really trying to trash your project. That's a whole different conversation. We'll deal with that at another day. But we're talking about somebody made a simple mistake. Maybe they were supposed to provide you an action item and they forgot, and now you got to circle back with them, but it's not worth finger pointing. It's not worth throwing them under the bus, as they would say, because it doesn't do anything for the morale of the project. And to my leaders out there, please, and if you're watching this, you're a leader, please stop the finger pointing because you're not doing anything to help the person that you are leading. All you're doing is attacking. You're attempting to attack their confidence. You're attempting to make them feel less than. You're attempting to do something to cause harm in a way to seem that you're more powerful when in reality you could be replaced the next day. So I'm saying that to say, family, that the finger pointing is not a way to build a high performing successful team. Okay, let's move on to point 7. I kind of drained that a little bit, but I'm really passionate about if we come into this team. Okay, I promise this a bit. I remember when growing up, my mom would always say, me and my best friend would go out and say, listen, if y'all go out, y'all come back together. Okay, you don't know what I mean by that. Okay, watch how I unpack it. What she was saying is that if you guys go to an event, if you guys go somewhere, you guys come back. It's none of that. Well, I'm gonna come back on my own, or he's gonna come. No, 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 no. The whole point of a team is that camaraderie, that trust, and just really growing a deep relationship within the work environment. And if you get lucky, you can build a relationship outside of the work environment as well. All right, point number 7, and the final point of today's episode: scope creep. Listen, you got to have boundaries. Boundaries, yeah, boundaries. If you cross this line, it's on like I don't know, Donkey Kong, I guess. But no, seriously though, family, we have to create project boundaries, because if we don't create project boundaries, our scope can be out of control, our time can be out, our schedule can be out of control, our costs can be out of control, and last but not least, the quality can be out of control. And basically, that's a simple thing of just saying the iron triangle could really just be flipped upside down, do a backflip, and all of these different things. So, family, be vigilant. Be so vigilant and keeping an eye on your scope. And if there's changes that are required, let's ensure that we're following the proper change management process and documenting it well. In a video I released, a live video I released yesterday, and I said, documentation beats conversation. So, point I'm trying to say is that when if you have to make a scope change, let's ensure that we document that appropriately, that we document to ensure success for future and even present projects. Hey, family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm your boy D. I didn't bring it up, but hey, why not? The Magnetic Project Manager. Go pick up about 10 copies of this. I really think you'll enjoy it. Coming to a store near you. Until next time, you know my slogan. Or you don't, I'm out.